Amanda from devotioninaction.com, and I'm here in Psalms 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. And I have taken a pencil and drawn out like puzzle pieces, almost shattered pieces of a heart. This is to go with the devotional A Shattered Heart, and I will link in the description box to the full devotional post. And now I'm just taking some watercolor and coloring in. I wanted several different shades of like pinks and reds, that kind of thing on here. So I'm gonna speed up this process because it'll take a while for me to paint these in otherwise. And so I just thought I'd speed it up and talk to you a little bit about this devotional in the scripture, kind of what it means to me. And we're doing a series at Devotion in Action called Keep Your Heart. And it's about really kind of learning to keep our hearts clean and pure and focused on Jesus so that they are ready to be a dwelling place for the presence of God. And at the same time, we're going to work on cleaning up, decluttering, and getting rid of the chaos in our homes so that our homes can be places where people experience God's presence as well. The peace and the joy that we find in God's presence. So at the kind of like keep your heart and your home at the same time, double purpose there. So as I watercolor in these kind of shattered pieces of this heart, I was reading in Psalms 34 and read that scripture that I read to you just a second ago, and it really occurred to me that some of us are working at cleaning up and purifying our hearts, but some of us feel like our heart is just shattered. It's broken into 1,000 pieces. It could be that you're going through a period in your life where you've been betrayed by someone you trusted, or someone you love let you down. Maybe you've experienced the death of a spouse or a child or a close family member or friend. Maybe the dreams that you have for your life, you feel like those are impossible and will never come true. There's a number of events that can break your heart and make you feel like you don't even want to try anymore. Because brokenheartedness is debilitating. Sometimes it feels like no one's listening, like no one cares. But we just read in Psalm 34, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So the Lord hears you. He sees you and He's close to you. When you're broken, when you're crushed, He's right there beside you. So what do we do? What do we do when we can't really feel His presence and we feel like it's not even worth trying anymore? What do we do when our heart is broken, when we feel shattered? It's easy to think that nothing matters, to kind of pull into yourself and decide not to put your heart out there again because it could just get broken again, or it'll certainly be too painful. The thing to do, though, is to take refuge in the one whose love never fails, to turn into the arms of love Himself. Because 1 John 4:2 says, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. God is love itself. And God's love wraps around us when we're heartbroken and begins to put the pieces of our hearts together like a puzzle. And that's what I was kind of picturing when I did this Bible art journaling entry in Psalm 34. At the bottom, you'll see that the pieces are fit together into the bottom of the heart, and the other ones are still apart. Like we're in the process, because life is all about the processes that we go through. The process of God kind of putting our heart back together and making it whole again. So He can put them together if we just let Him. So let's get down to the practical stuff. God can handle our grief, our sadness, our anger. However, we do better when we choose to focus on our blessings, when we choose to be grateful in spite of the hurt, when we choose to worship in the middle of the pain. And I know it's hard, but it really does help us to get our focus off of ourselves and onto the God who loves us. Sometimes that means that in the very center of our disappointment, we thank God for any blessing we can think of while the tears are just streaming down our faces. And sometimes it means that we turn on worship music and sing about how amazing God is when the pain seems unbearable. At our most vulnerable points, He's right there with us. There are times when we feel His presence surround us and support us in our deepest need. The God of the universe is present in our pain with us. Well, I know that this is kind of a heavy subject, and it's not a super heavy Bible art journaling entry. You see, I grabbed my kind of glittery gold pen right there, and I am outlining all of these pieces where the breaks are in this gold because it reminded me of a Japanese art of repairing broken china or pottery. When the Japanese have broken pottery or china, they don't always just throw it away. Sometimes they put it back together, and instead of using glue to put the pieces back together, they use liquid precious metals like liquid gold to repair the cracks. And so those cracks in between the pieces become a part of the beauty of the piece. That place that is a scar becomes something beautiful. And I think God can do that with our hearts. When He restores us, we're stronger than before. We have this beauty that wasn't there before because there's a depth to our relationship with God. We can trust Him, and we know we can trust Him even more than we did before. And He can restore us fully. And I thought it was so timely. This week we went to, my family, we went to a concert, and one of the artists was Blanca, and she has a new song out called Shattered, and I had already written this blog post, so it was perfect timing. Oh my goodness, it was so perfect. And this song is all about how God can restore us even when we are shattered. So I highly recommend that. I'll link to her song in the description box as well. It's an awesome song just to minister to those of us who feel brokenhearted, shattered, and how God can restore us and make us even more beautiful than we were before. And so that's kind of the idea behind this Bible art journaling piece, was that all these pieces are being restored by God. They're being put back together, and it's being done in a way that makes it even more beautiful than it was before. You saw me hit that with the heat tool. That's just that I don't drag my hand through the gold ink and smear it all over the page, because you know me, I've done that before. So now I'm just taking a black brush pen and writing, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted." And that's just across the center there. That's why I left kind of a space there between the pieces that aren't put back together in the heart and the pieces that are, just to be able to read these words a little bit better in this piece. And I am practicing my brush lettering, so I'm letting you guys see it, even though I'm not super happy with it yet, but I will be. I'm getting better, better all the time. So we're gonna keep on trying until I get this right. But this is just like some simple brush lettering, and if you are also kind of giving it a try, the trick is to do lighter, thinner strokes anytime that you move up in your cursive, and heavier strokes on the way down. And this is actually a brush pen made to do this with, and some of those are easier than others to work with. You just kind of have to experiment with them. And then you notice, like, I wasn't super happy with my first go around, so I'm coming back around, and those darker down strokes, just kind of thickening up some of them, making them darker or smoother where needed, until I'm a little bit happier with the way that it looks. So this is the basic outline for this. And if you'd like the challenge for what to tidy up in your home as well as your heart, please hop on over to the blog post. This week's room is the living room that we're working on. And so you can find the challenge for that at the blog post. I'm just writing the scripture reference, which is Psalms 34:18, right beside the heart right there. I'm going to give you another close-up view in real time instead of sped up, so that you can see this kind of close up. I did not do any page prep on this page before I started to work on it. I just kind of went for it. Here you go. You can sort of see up close what that kind of looks like. Very simple page, but it really reminds me that even when we're shattered, God is right there with us. I hope you've enjoyed this today. If you have, please give me a like or a thumbs up, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, to our newsletter on the blog. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.